Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Make and Take. Go ahead and say hello in the chat. We would love to know who's joining tonight as we get really creative, and we have a special guest tonight too. First, I'm going to bring on Ashley. So you have both of us tonight. How are you doing, Ashley?
I am doing great, Stephanie. How are you doing?
I'm doing great too. And we were going to do an icebreaker.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite color?
Stephanie, my favorite color is blue. What's your favorite color, Stephanie?
My favorite color is the color you're wearing right now. It's that like coral color.
This is a fun beach color. Yes.
I know. I love
and
that.
I know Megan's not here, but she wanted to share that her favorite colors are royal blue and black.
Yes. And sparkle.
Right? Oh, and sparkle. Yes. That is a color. I'm not sure. We'll have to ask Sadie.
But let us know in the chat.
So please type in the chat who you are and what's your favorite color.
Yeah, let us know your favorite color because we would just love to know. And so if you're not a part of our Google group, make sure you join our Google group. This is where you can receive material, email updates, information about upcoming sessions. And then there's also that support group where we're always just sharing different things. So feel free to join, and we'll put that link in the chat. But I am so excited to bring on our special guest, Sadie Lewis. And the way that I found Sadie is through ISTE. She presents all the time at ISTE, and her sessions are a must like attend sessions, because I'm always like, oh, and then you look back at some of your designs and you're like, that was really ugly. But she really does it.
Well, thanks. And so like, I feel like I have to say now my favorite color, right?
Yeah.
And if you can't tell by like, and I always do this, like, of course, the slides are all pink. I'm like wearing pink. Like I always do that. But yeah, like the rosy pink, that's my favorite color right now, at least. I go back and forth. Yeah.
And I'm seeing some purples in the chat. So
purple. Yeah, I was a purple girl for a while, and now I'm kind of starting to lean a little more pink. And I think it's because this is like a silly reason, but my mother said that my grandma used to make her wear pink all the time as a child, and she hated it. And so then my mom never dressed me in pink when I was little. And so I feel like I was deprived of pink as a little girl. And so here I am loving pink. I don't know.
I love pink too.
So do we want to get started?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
Awesome.
So, real quick though, the slides are in the chat, so make sure you go on over, you get the resources from today. There is a make and take session from this slide, so we will be doing that part at the end, but make sure you have access to the slides and you're ready to go. All right, Sadie, go ahead and take it over.
Awesome. So we've already gone through those slides. Sorry. Okay, so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go through a really short little color mini lesson. And that's what the slides are that you're looking at right now, but that they also dropped in the chat. And so this is something that you can use in the classroom with your students. You can, if you're somebody that does professional development with teachers, you could use this in professional development. So feel free to use these slides, in your classroom or in your work, whatever that may be. And so a little background, I was a business teacher. And so a lot of the work I did teach some graphic design and stuff like that to kids, and then moved over into teaching teachers. And I realized that we are really doing our teachers a disservice by not talking about the visual parts of things and making things visually appealing and accessible. And I know, Stephanie, you did a thing on accessibility recently as well. And like, I feel like we don't talk to teachers enough about that. And then therefore it doesn't make it to our kids, right? It doesn't make it to the students. So we're going to do a really quick color theory mini lesson, just so we can kind of understand color and like the meanings behind it. And then just some tips and some tools around how to build your own color palettes, or where to get some inspiration and start to build these color skills. And then the best part is that make and take. So we're going to create and share and have something that you can take with you for your own little color inspiration. And if you have any questions or anything, put them in the chat. And if you need me to repeat anything or explain something, just let me know, because I know that I get to talking quick sometimes. Okay, so color, the color wheel. this is something that we learn as kindergartners, right, in our kindergarten art classes. And then, at least in my district in Missouri, you get that color wheel again in 6th grade, and then you get it again in Art 1 in high school. But outside of that, we don't really talk to kids about color and how it applies in the other disciplines very often. And the color wheel is so much more than sitting in your art class and mixing watercolors. It is that, and that's super fun and awesome, but it is so much more than that. Color has so much meaning behind it, and choosing the right color for your audience, for your purpose, and the emotions that you want behind it can really change the message and change the way that your audience interprets things. So, and this is not like the hard and fast rule, but when you think about companies, brands that you know, and think about the colors that they use. So red is really passion and intensity and excitement and bold. And so when you think about like stores, which one is maybe more like some of those big box stores? So think about like Target. Target wants to set themselves kind of ahead or away from other competitors as the more exciting one. And so thinking about red and the companies that use red, when you think about like sports cars, and the colors they use in some of those sports cars commercials, a lot of times they're either red or they're black because luxury. And then orange is that friendly and sociable and confident and cheerful. Yellow is also cheerful, optimistic, warmth, creativity. And so when you think about social media, for a while we had Twitter and Facebook and a bunch of social media platforms, LinkedIn, that all used blue. All of their logos were blue. And then came along a new creative, different one using yellow. So Snapchat, whenever Snapchat was brand new, they wanted to be that creative one. They wanted to be the different one. And so that's why they used yellow. Green is like quality and nature and growth. And so when you think about Whole Foods, Starbucks, they use green for nature and quality, and to be seen as the highest quality product. Blue, trust, dependency, loyal, peacefulness. So when you think about your doctor or your dentist's office, I guarantee you your doctor or your dentist, their logo, or the hospital or whatever, the logo is probably blue or a shade of blue. And because you want your doctor, you want that feeling of trust and dependability whenever you go to your doctor. So the next time you go to like a doctor or a dentist, look at their logo, and like 9 times out of 10, it's blue. And then purple, a lot of times like it's royalty, faith, all of that. And then black is like luxury and drama and security. So when you think, and I said this earlier, but when you think about cars and those car commercials, luxury car commercials are typically filmed a little bit darker to give that like sense of luxury. Whereas like other car commercials usually are in those brightly lit showrooms with bright red cars, right? And so thinking about the way that people in marketing appeal to our emotions and appeal to our senses based off of color, they put so much time and effort into it. And we should really be like asking our students to do the same thing, to really think about the choices that they're making, and how to build these color palettes in a way that will appeal to their audience. And like we were talking about at the beginning, I love purple. I love pink. But you don't see me creating all of my slides in purple and pink because it's not about me. It's about my audience and what plays well to my audience. And so in some cases, it's using simpler, darker colors. So that was a long time on one slide. I apologize. So there are 16 million colors in the color spectrum. So you have 16 million colors to choose from. And for some reason, when our students create presentations, they use the top row of colors. Why? And when you ask them, it's usually because they're right there. It's because it's easy. And that's not wrong, but those colors at the top, if you choose this bright green, it doesn't go with much else other than like black, white, and gray. So if you have a student that says, well, I want to use bright red, Okay, well, that's all you get, friend, because it doesn't really go with anything else. The only places that you see those top fully saturated colors together are professional sports teams and like fast food restaurants. So the red and the yellow together is either like McDonald's or the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm a Chiefs fan, so it's a good color combination, but maybe not when we're like designing things. And if you use this bright blue or these bright greens, they don't go with a whole lot more. So encouraging students to come down off of that top row and really start to mix colors and putting things together that really look good. So if I come down here off of this bright green and bright blue down to one of these teal colors. So as I start to add a little bit of black, so I start to shade it a little bit. So shading is when you add black and tinting is when you add white. So as I start to shade it a little bit, now, well, that would look really good with maybe this darker shade of orange and like one of these like other kind of, I don't know, peachy, like corally reds. So you can start to build out palettes just visually starting to see things that look good together whenever you come down off that top row. And so one of my rules in my classroom when I did this was you don't get to use the top row. And if you do, you have to justify why. And it was usually because, well, I'm using that with like all black and white. Okay, fine. But if you want to start mixing colors, you can't use the top row. You have to get more creative than that. So there's a couple different ways to build color palettes. And these are, again, not the only way, but for those that are just getting started, this is where I started teaching my students. And this is really like basic entry level art class stuff. But this is what I taught my kids in my classes whenever we would first start talking about color. So complementary colors are those things that are across the color wheel from one another. And then analogous colors are together on the color wheel. And I'm going to show you pictures of all of this. But they're right there next to each other on the color wheel. And then monochrome, which is kind of my favorite more recently, because it looks really good together, is when you take one color and you add black or white and shade and tint, and you get a like almost like a gradient of colors from that one hue that you started with. So when I take my color wheel, that first way to do it, I should have labeled this slide, is that complementary. And so I took two colors that were across the color wheel from each other, but I didn't just use bright blue and bright yellow. I took my blue down a little bit. I tinted it by adding a little bit of white. And then I took my yellow and I kind of darkened and lightened, and I created this little color palette that's kind of a little sunshiny, a little summery, but it's a complementary color palette. And those three look really good together. If you want to create an analogous, so analogous would be anything that's right next to each other. So the three that are right next to each other on the color wheel. So in this case, I took an orange and then a yellow and a pink, but I didn't do that fully saturated bold orange and bold pink and bold yellow, because that would be too much. I took the really bold orange and then I pulled that yellow and pink down so that they were a little bit more muted. So I have one really strong color and two that are a little bit more secondary. And then the third way is when you take that, that hue, that really strong red or green or blue. So if you have a student who's like, no, I want to use red, cool. Use red, but create a really cool monochromatic color palette to go with it. And so you just add black and white. And then you could use, because I like to say like stick to 3 or 4 colors. 3 is a pretty good number, but honestly, you could use all of these throughout a presentation or a poster or a graphic or whatever you're making, and it would look good because they are all variations of the exact same color. So they really mix well together. So you could get away with using all of these in a presentation in a really smart way, and it would look awesome. So I really like monochromatic palettes these days. So once you've chosen your colors, I've got this orange, yellow, and pink. It's not enough to just be like, oh, I'll just use them however I want. It's then saying, I've got these 3 colors, but I need to figure out how am I going to use them to create a message and to send a message. So we follow the 60-30-10 rule. And again, not hard and fast, but it's a good start. So it's that 60-30-10. So your main color, that is the color you're going to use 60% of the time. It's eye-catching, but it's not bright or overwhelming. I'm not using neon green or bright yellow 60% of the time. I'm using something a little darker, a little more easy to read 60% of the time. And then my secondary color, I'm using 30% of the time, and it just adds that visual interest. So it could be something a little bit more like exciting or whatever, but you are still using it a lot. And so then that accent color, that's the one that's usually a little brighter or something that you wouldn't use quite as much. And so when I say that accent color, I would use that, like maybe I'll make my bullet points that color, or maybe I'll add a little graphic. I'll go out and get an icon and make that icon that color. And so you only see it as a little pop of color throughout to just add that visual interest and draw your audience back in, but it's not something you use a ton. So for those students that say, but I really want to use that bright teal blue, okay, but you get 10% of the time, make it work. So some examples, this main color, I think I'm using these two like in this presentation actually. So this main color, this is what I'm using 60% of the time. It's really easy to read. It pops off the screen. I can put text in this color and it's still going to be easy to read on a screen. My secondary is this pink, and then I'm not going to put a ton of text, or really probably any text, in that yellow because it becomes hard to read and we have to think about accessibility. So that yellow, that's going to be things like icons, maybe like, you know, the border around a picture or something like that. So something that adds visual interest but doesn't make it hard to read things. This is another one. So you could really flip-flop these two main and secondary colors. Those are interchangeable because they're so dark, then with that bright teal accent. So I told you this was going to be quick because I wanted you to have plenty of time to practice and get to do this. So that I did in 10 minutes. You could do that in a classroom with students in 10 minutes. Something that I really like to do, I go to Home Depot or Lowe's and I actually get color chips, the little paint chips. If you tell them you're a teacher, they just like they'll let you, because they're free, right? You go in and take them. I just feel weird taking handfuls of paint chips, but they'll let you. And so I would keep these in my classroom and I would use these like when I was teaching this lesson and have kids actually like pull and put colors together. So we're not on the computers. We're actually like physically doing that. And then later in the year, a couple, or even like a week later, whatever, I would hand the kids a color chip as they came in and I would tell them, put yourself in a complementary color. That's your partner for the day. Or put yourself in an analogous color palette. That's your triad for the day. Or just for this, you know, icebreaker we're going to do or whatever. And so I would have them practice this with those little paint chips. And actually, I was just planning new teacher orientation. That's going to be one of my icebreakers for new teacher orientation in 2 weeks. So now I have to start making little sneaky trips to Lowe's for the next 2 weeks to get some more paint chips because I'm out. So that's just a fun way to have kids continue to practice this. So we are going to work together to create color palettes. And I'm going to give you some tools for how to do it. So if you're like, I got this, I am ready, I just want to, I want to start creating and choosing colors and putting them together myself, go you. Awesome. But for those of you that are like, I'm not quite there, I need some practice. There's lots of tools out there that you can use, and they're tools that kids can use as well. So you can use photos as inspiration, and we have a couple of photo kind of links and stuff for you. Some color palette generators, and just looking at current color trends. So I'm going to show you where to find all of that. So if you hop onto this slideshow, which should be linked in the chat here, I think. But they just put it in the chat, which is perfect. Awesome, thank you. So if you're using this slideshow, this is collaborative. You should be able to edit it. If you get to, if there's so many of us on here that we run out of slides, just right click on a slide and hit duplicate and keep on going, keep on keeping on. So if you look, I've given you a couple of different things. I pulled some from lots of different places. So first, Canva has some really great pre-made color palettes. So you can pop into this color palette ideas, and there's so many out here for you. So maybe you really like this one. And I'm telling you guys, I only gave you guys 3 little little dudes, right? So maybe this purple color is your 60. This is your 30. This pink is your 30. And one of these two blues is your 10. Can you use all four? Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. So what I would do is I would just click copy, boom. And then I can come back over here. I'm just going to edit this one. Actually, Stephanie, I'm going to edit yours real quick. And then I'm going to go up. I'm going to click on my little gray box, click on my paint palette, my little paint bucket, and click custom. And then Control V to paste or right click paste. And boom, now I have that color. It lives there. It's great. And then you can then paste your hex code in. I personally would change it to white because I want it to be readable. So Canva has so many great color palettes already built for you. Do I love them all? Absolutely not. Like some of them are not great, but there's some really good ones. I am feeling that. I really like this. That's beautiful. And I'm going to keep this open because I'm going to use that in a project soon because that is gorgeous. I love that color palette. So that's one way to do it. There's some really great things out there. Adobe Color has this color trends tab. So you can send kids out here. And if you've got kids that are into graphic design, that are into video game design, they have an entire set of color palettes created inspired by video, like current trends in video game design. And so I don't think we talk to kids enough about, like, you know, a couple years ago, whenever coding really blew up in education, and it was like, every kid needs to be able to code. Every kid needs to code. Like, do they? Because we're going to end up with a whole bunch of kids that can code, but then the front end of the app or the video game is going to look like garbage and nobody's going to buy it because we didn't teach them how to, like, we didn't teach the kids that know how to code, how to talk to those user experience folks, because both are important. And so if you've got kids that are into this stuff, like, this is a great place to send them because it shows that color is in all of these different disciplines. Like, if somebody had told little 7th grade Sadie, who is sitting at her dining room table mixing her own nail polish colors to make her perfect nail polish color because her mother would not go buy her a 50th bottle of nail polish, and I was creating those, if somebody told me that that's color science and that's like a career, I don't know what I'd be doing right now, right? Because I was like so into it. So if you've got kids that are into fashion and game design, this trends page on Adobe is awesome. I could scroll through those forever. I love them. The other thing is just getting an idea from pictures, getting inspiration from pictures. So Unsplash, we linked Unsplash for you. I think we also, guys, did we link? We did. Pixabay is a good one as well. I think Pixabay is blocked in my district, though, for some reason. And I don't remember why, but I think it might be. But check your web filters before you share these. So lots of great pictures of, there's super high quality images. I'm going to search. I found one earlier that I really liked. I think I searched flowers. And then if you'll bear with me until I find the one that I like, because I just did this a little bit ago. There it is, this one. So I really love this picture. I think it's gorgeous. So I'm going to click on, actually, I just want to click download down here at the bottom. So I've now downloaded this image. And then I'm going to come back over to Adobe and click on create. And you can see you get your little Adobe color wheel. And you can click through, right? And it just kind of does random colors for you, right? Like I can change it. Ooh, that's a lot. I'm actually going to come over here to extract theme. And then because I'm on Chrome and I downloaded that, it's down here in my tray. So I don't even need to click select a file. I'm just going to drag and drop it. And it automatically, boom, pulls colors. That color palette is not what I thought it was going to choose. So I can come over here. Let's see what bright does. That's a little better. Muted, much better. Getting closer to what I thought it was going to do. And so you can pull those around, but I'm actually just going to do it myself. I'm going to pull this one down to this pretty purple. Oh man, this picture isn't giving me the ones I thought it was going to give. I was really hoping for something else. That's okay. I was really hoping for like, I don't know what. That's all right. That's fine. Okay, let's pretend that I love this color palette. So I can just come over here and click the hex code. And I think I haven't said that. So your hex code, your hexadecimal code is a 6-digit letter and number code that identifies one of those 16 million colors that I was talking about. So hexadecimal, you might also see RGB, and you might also see CMYK. So if you see something that is a color code that's written in CMYK, that is meant for print, because those are the 4 CMYK are, what is that? Cyan, CM magenta, Y yellow, K is black. So those are the 4 ink cartridges in a color printer. And so if you see something that's written in CMYK, that is not for a screen, that is for print. So if you are designing for a screen, stick to hex codes, and that's where you're gonna get that truest color that's gonna come across the way you want it. So again, I'm gonna click on my little hex code at the bottom and come back over to my color palette. And Stephanie, I'm gonna do that one on yours again. And the same way, little bucket. And I click OK. And so then I have those. And anytime you add a new color to a presentation or a document or anything, it comes up in the list in your custom colors. So then it's there. So you, in theory, could copy and paste this into a brand new presentation, and those colors would be in your little custom color palette automatically. That's just kind of how that works. So here's what we want you to do. I just did that as like to kind of model it, but I'm going to, I think, throw it back over to Stephanie or Ashley. And you guys should have this. I can see a bunch of people on here. So as you guys are working, and I remember on that first slide, I gave you like links and like different ways to extract the hex codes. But well, I want to see what you come up with. And Stephanie and Ashley, like what you guys are coming up with too.
So Ashley, what did you learn? Because I saw your face behind the scenes.
Sadie, I really love when you could download the image and then upload it to the Adobe site, and then it extracted all the colors. You know how much time I spend color matching with an eyedropper? I was so excited that you showed me that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was my favorite. Stephanie, what was your favorite tip that you learned from Sadie?
My favorite, I love that tip. My favorite tip that I've learned from Sadie is taking a color palette and like copying the whole thing over to another slide deck. We'll save it up in the, I don't know what it's called, this thing, the custom color area.
Yeah. Am I still sharing my screen? Can you guys still see my screen? Okay. So if I click like, so I just created a new presentation. Why is this being so slow? Come on. So if I click, you know, whatever to change my font color, like I don't have anything in my custom. Yeah, I don't have anything custom here. But if I were to like scroll down to this one at the bottom, right? Because I kind of created this one for you guys. If I love this color palette, or if you guys like find somebody else creates one in here that you want to use as inspiration, you just highlight. So you do your little marquee drag across the 3 of them and then copy. And when I paste this, now those are my custom colors and I can use them. So I don't have to copy and paste all those hex codes back and forth, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge game changer because I'm always at like Canva colors and I'm like, copy. And I'm like, I just need to make my own slides. So I can just grab and go.
Yeah. And that's honestly what I do. Like I have slides like this one and like multiple of them that just have different, like how I said, I was going to keep this one open because I really like it. I'm going to go add that to my little like inspiration slide that I have in my Google Drive so that I can grab this later and use it.
And I also love that you talked about the user when you're creating your slides at the beginning, because I think that's so true. Like whenever I am and that's like from the Google Innovator too, like that whole focus on the user type of thing. And when I'm creating presentations for kids, I'm like, okay, what is the theme of what I'm teaching? What is going to make like the most impact? And like, you can totally use colors to do that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get creating. Oh, you're going to say something else.
No, and I just think that like we don't talk to kids about that stuff, right? Like we assume that they just, oh yeah, they'll just pick some colors, and then we're shocked whenever it's like, whoa, I should have taught you that. And so that the Adobe thing, Ashley, how you were saying like how you can drop the picture in. My phone is being wild. Okay, so there's an app called Adobe Capture that does the same thing, but like with your world. So like you can go in, now it's logged me out. But if you download Adobe Capture, you can like take pictures of stuff and it extracts the color from wherever. So like if I'm at like the art museum and I love the colors in a painting or something, I can take a picture of it and it pulls the colors out, just like that just did on the web. Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Stephanie, we're definitely going to download that.
Yeah. And then we're going to go to a museum together.
Yeah.
Well, and like a friend of mine used it. A friend of mine used it because there was this a painting that they wanted to like match the wall paint on their walls or something too. I don't know. And so they, in really good light, took a picture of it and then got that color and took the color and got the custom color mixed at, Lowe's or wherever, and got their paint color to match this one little shade in some art that they had in their house. So I don't know. That's like a non-education use for it. I really like it. I don't know.
But what a practical use when you're painting in your house. If you don't have the paint can anymore and you don't know the color, you can use the phone app.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
That is a good idea. Okay, I already see Ashley creating.
I am, and I've actually used this color palette before. It's like a retro color palette. It comes with a really fun blue too. Yeah, it's very fun for summer.
Yeah, I mean, add like another little dude, like
yeah. I'm gonna add another picture on there because you need the blue to really see it pop.
The blue pull it together. Yeah,
yep.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
And then I like what Sarah's doing too with like this reminds me of fall. The blues and the browns.
Yeah. Oh, that's really pretty. I like that blue with the brown.
And I really like this blue right here.
Mm-hmm. It's like a gray, it's not gray blue, but I really like those grays together. I really like that. That's pretty. Sarah, I wonder, did you get that from somewhere, or did you pull that did you just come up with that yourself, or did you get it from somewhere? Like, I wonder if it's inspired. Like, that's the thing, is I want to see, like, if it's inspired by a picture. Now I want to see the picture that inspires it.
And then I was looking at Bill's too. It looks like he's going with some green.
Where's Bill?
Slide 7.
Oh, we skipped one. Got it. Yep. That's like really dark. Oh wait, no. Slide 7. Oh, okay. I see. Sorry. I was down farther. Sorry.
Yeah. She got it from Adobe.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah, feel free to put your photo where you got the inspiration on your slide too, off in the gray space.
Yeah, copy and paste it over, wherever.
And then I like Amy's with the, is that like a black or is that like a?
That's the one I was just looking at. And I was like, wow, that's like really dark.
I like it though.
I'm gonna see where that pops up on the color wheel.
So it's that yellow.
Blue. It's a really dark shade of blue. That's pretty.
Yeah. And then that yellow will pop it.
Mm-hmm.
An image.
That's cool. How very Pacific Northwest. Like, it really is. That color palette's very Pacific Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
It's really fun to guess, though, what inspired the colors. So not having the image on there at first.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what could that be in real life?
That could be a fun game.
That would be fun.
It could be. Yes.
Like an intro.
That'd be a fun thing to do with kids. Yeah. Because I've done, like the paint chips and have them, come up with their own color names, so like, come up with a color palette that describes how you're feeling about whatever, whatever thing, or color palettes for characters from a book or, whatever. And so, but yeah, doing it backwards, kind of like guessing where it came from. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I like it when you first open Adobe. It's always like the most whoa, color palette possible. Like it defaults to like, that's what you chose.
Yeah.
I like how it randomly chose that pea green way off to the side. Like what? That's what it picked up out of the picture. Yeah, there's some really good pictures on here that I should have pulled in one of my students' ones that because there's some pretty cool ones that kids have created from some of the like sci-fi, like video gaming ones. Oh, I was like, why are these all flowers? Because that's what I searched for was flowers. Cool. Very cool.
I feel like this is just so relaxing.
I know. I feel like I'm just in my own color world right now, just pasting all these really fun colors.
And I think Ashley, you had said that you use the eyedropper tool. Like, so doing this is good, but like if there's some random color on a website that you want, like I think mine's just called eyedropper. So
That's what I use.
yeah, eyedropper. But there's a lot of them out there that just like little extensions you can download that will pull colors and stuff.
I can kind of demo that eyedropper for anybody.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of them, so whatever one works for you guys, yeah.
It's August and I'm really sad summer's almost over, but I really like this picture, so I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
A little slide for everybody.
I like that. I like those colors.
And then you just download the extension and then you can color.
Yeah. And it's quick. I mean, if you're trying to do a bunch of them, it does take a little while, but it's quick for if you see something on the web and you just want to grab something and match color. Yeah. I do it because we have 17 different buildings and, like our high school is this shade of dark green, but like Woolwind is like a lighter green or whatever. And so I'll go to their websites when I'm creating something specifically for that building. I just go to their website and color pick their school colors and use their school colors in whatever I'm making. If only we could all just do the same district color for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, I like the purple that Bill went with.
Mm-hmm.
And feel free to duplicate a slide and keep creating if you're enjoying this. And
yeah, Sarah, I like those greens. Those are nice. Wilderness. Yeah, Stephanie, I like this like orange, not orange, coral teal and like dark red.
mm-hmm.
I like that.
I love all those chair colors. They're so happy.
I know.
I'm like, what can I use that for?
I know. And that's nice because like there's like that's a good picture for a slide because you have like a nice like nothing in the sky to put text.
Yeah.
I know, summer's almost over. You need to find a way to use it. Quick.
Yeah. Or use it next year.
Yeah.
When it's in May. And feel free to keep creating. We're going to leave the slides open forever. So as you think, or if you need that inspiration area, the slides will be there for you. And you have everybody else inspiration as well.
And I used to do this, like something similar to this, not these little paint chip kind of things, but just little squares in my class with my kids. And it was shared. And so then they could like use each other's palettes as inspiration for their projects, but then they had to give each other design credit for it.
But I think that's good because then they're getting used to that, giving people credit, which is a hard skill for some people, you know.
Yes. And like, you know, treating kids as designers, like, you know, like giving you credit for this design you put together or this, you know, color palette or whatever. And I think I did include that slide on the very last slide of not the one. Oh, sorry. My timer started going. Yeah. Oh, okay. You switched over to me. Okay. I did include this. I'm going to close the, sorry. There we go. This is what I would give the kids. So like nothing fancy. Like it wasn't like what you guys are working on. I would, like, this is just like the note for teachers to, you know, whatever, but it tells them exactly what to do. Like go to Unsplash, like it's what we just did. And then they would change the fill color, put their hex code here, and then paste their photo up there at the top and like, you know, make it the size of the slide, do whatever. So that, and then that's what they would create rather than like the little palettes like what you guys are creating. But either way, you could do it this way or the other way. But this is the slide I used with kids, and there's like a little video that I made a while back showing how to do it. So yeah, so you can use that with kids too.
And that's on slide number 20 if you're looking for that.
Yeah, very bottom. Yeah.
And you have every kid working on the same slide deck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like what we're doing now. I'd have everybody working on that. Sometimes I would just do it as one and throw it on Google Classroom and, you know, make a copy for each student. But I kind of liked having them all in one spot. And like I had teenagers, so like they were a little more like, oh, that's not my slide, you know, and weren't typing over each other. But I know if you had little ones, it may be a little bit better to do each person has their own, and then you can kind of compile them all later or something. Yeah.
And I think too, Ashley's a counselor, so how are you feeling today? And they could do their colors.
Yeah.
Image to help describe it.
Mm-hmm.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we're doing with new teachers. That's going to be like on the second day of new teacher orientation. We're just doing a little quick color palette, icebreaker, whatever. But it's like create a color palette that describes how you're feeling about going back to school and about the new year or whatever. So.
Oh, that is fun because then you could come up with like different categories.
Right, because like some of them, like, there might be like a sunshine, whatever. So like I'm gonna be pretty strategic in which colors I choose, because you know the color chips have the names on them.
Yeah.
And so figuring out how that name kind of describes your feelings. And so some of them will be a little more sunshiny and other ones might not be, and that's okay. So and it's a good way to get kids and adults like talking about their feelings in a way that's like haha funny, you know. So
or even like create a color palette that is you, like we have to go around and guess whose colors those are.
Yeah, right.
Like I know Ashley would do blues. I'll describe her.
Yes.
And mine would be like the first slide of this presentation. It would be some combination of that. Whatever. Probably like the bright pink, the light pink, and like the purple or something.
But color just tells you a lot a people. So I think that could be a fun like icebreaker instead of those really weird ones. And then you can use those color palettes throughout the year.
The really weird ones, right? Yeah. Right. Sometimes icebreakers are like weird.
Or weird.
And yeah, like I'm not good at them. Like
Well, thank you guys so much for joining tonight. If you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. Sadie, is there the best way to like reach out to you? Is that Twitter or
Twitter?
Okay.
Yeah.
So make sure you reach out to Sadie if you have any issues. And then the true color theory. I don't know what that was about.
What?
It was one of the comments. But yeah, feel free. Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't know. I wonder if that's like another like website or like another good resource or something.
Yeah, maybe. I'll have to look. But yeah, make sure if you have any questions or follow Sadie on Twitter. So make sure that you do that. We'll throw her handle back in the chat as Ashley kind of wraps us up. Ashley's just creating.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Oh, well, I'm not creating anymore. I stopped. Yes. But thank you for joining us. I know I learned a lot of new tips with colors and I had a lot of fun designing. I hope you did too, and can take some of these new tips that Sadie taught us to incorporate them into your everyday life or painting if you need a new house project. I know we learned a lot of new things today, but we threw in the chat the feedback form, so please give us feedback. We really value your feedback, and it helps us to continue to grow and learn. So please share your feedback with us. Also check us out on our Gold EDU website for more information about future sessions and our courses that you can take for professional learning. So if you haven't checked it out, it's an awesome site. And then the last link on there is just our Twitter. So if you haven't already subscribed, that too. I know the feedback form is up and showcased for you. So if you haven't already, give us some feedback. We really appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining, and continue to edit and add your colors to this color palette that is shared. That way we can just copy these colors over to a new slide deck and start creating. So continue to add. Feel free to share with others if you think that they might be able to find some inspiration out of this session. Thank you, Sadie, so much for coming on and sharing your knowledge of design and colors.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great. It's fun.
All right, guys, have a great night.
Yes. Bye.